rambling.
Check.
Checking. Yeah, we got audio in. Awesome. Thank you for coming out July 25th to another Friday Rambles, the last of July. We are so happy to have Mondo Davis here with us. For those that don't know, Mondo is a game designer. You've got 2 games out now, or do you have more than that? I know of 2.
I have 4.
Okay,
but yeah.
The 2 or the 4. What are the other 2? So we're going to talk about Colorfield and Big Sur today, but what are the other 2?
Sure. So in 2022, we released a game called Mansplaining, which is a co-design with Fortessa Elise.
Okay. Yeah.
And then last year a game with Gold Steel Games called By the Seashore was also out. Then I've got a couple more that are in production, and currently I'm full-time as the senior developer at the Op Games. So that's where most of my energy is focused.
That's awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you out here. We actually, a couple weeks ago, we had a guy who has they're part of a video game kind of co-op in game design here in Atlanta. And I was trying to see, do y'all have any board game or RPG stuff? And they're like, no, it's primarily video game stuff right now. I was like, no, we need to all have some crossover just because I think design-wise, I know when I went to college, the game design group, which eventually led into programming, they had to make a board game first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, part of the game design program there was like, no, you need to know mechanics and how to write mechanics and understand that before you get into video game design. So there's a lot going on there, especially manuals. That's what I've learned. It's like how to write succinct rules.
It's a skill that some people have more than others.
Yeah, oh my goodness. No. Well, I know we played, have you played Queen of Midnight?
I have not.
Queen of Midnight.
Is it in the? No, tell me about it.
Oh, no, it's a Darrington Press game. It's you play different queens. It's trying to be the first queen by midnight. There's a cool clock tower, clock mechanic. But that's everything I've heard about that game. They're like all this reprintings. The manual has been rewritten. There was a lot of problems with it.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's because that's a big portion of what I do now at the Op is writing rules, sometimes refining rules. But like, you have when you consider the perspective of a person learning a game, it's like the detail has to be so much more intricate. It has to be so much more explained. Like, addressing edge cases and like there's just so many things that you don't consider when you know how to play a game.
Oh yeah.
So when you're the one like putting that out there, it's like becomes very quickly apparent of like all of the little edge cases and details that like you didn't think were important enough to mention. Like it seemed natural, it seemed like things people could figure out, but like
all the things you take for granted.
Like super explicit. But then it runs the risk of because at the same time you don't want to over it's longer than it feels like it should be or needs to be. So it's a weird balance.
Oh yeah, that's like
hard to pin down.
Because I do RPG design. And we had for a while a discussion of, because most RPGs will have a section, what is an RPG? And we had a big discussion about that, like, is that a section that's necessary, especially if it's a niche book? Like we'll be talking about Coriolis, is like, most of the time people picking up these more niche books are picking up because they know what an RPG is.
Sure.
Very rarely are you going to have someone who's just like, oh, what's this?
What is this? Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I prefer the what is this RPG and explaining what this book is about as opposed to trying to define the genre as a whole.
You want people that aren't into them to get into them.
Right.
But then you run the risk of like over explaining things for people that are like, I know how to, I know the difference between a D6 and a D20 or whatever.
Please don't just, It's like, is that wasted space? Is that paper that could go towards something more important in the book?
Sounds like you need 2 rule books.
Oh yeah, here's 2 primers. Here you go. This is if you know and then if you don't know. Well, this is why we call it Rambles. I've kind of already gotten this off track. What announcements are coming up? So if you've been kind of paying attention, we have our RTT is on the 26th. That's tomorrow. Unfortunately, is sold out. So this is just your kind of reminder that that's happening. Other things, since July is almost over, we do want to talk about Lore League is still going strong. We had another one this past Tuesday. Still 3 tables, about the same number of people. A lot more people are showing interest, so we'll probably be growing that as time goes on. So please check that out. Lore League is our non-Adventures League D&D kind of thing where we play Daggerheart primarily, but are also playing any other game. I know some people are looking at playing Draw Steel. I know the Cosmere RPG just dropped that information, so a lot of that stuff will be played on Tuesday nights. If you're interested, please hit us up and we'll let you know on the Discord. You had mentioned before you got here, we are scheduling our next developers night. In this case, it will be on this Saturday in September, so the last quarter. And that's just going to be a night for if you have a board game or an RPG that you want people to play test, bring it on out. We'll start with that sign up next Thursday to kind of get that ball rolling. You'll either sign up as a player or as a developer. As a developer, we're going to ask you more questions about what the game is, what it's a bit about, because we want, one of the complaints we got last time from players is we don't know what's actually going to be there. Like they're just kind of showing up, hoping something interesting is going to be there.
Sure.
So we're going to hopefully get that information out for players. One thing we learned last time, this was really cool, what we really liked, we did an hour ahead of time of kind of a round table. Because mostly developers showed up, not many people just to play.
Right.
But the roundtable worked really nice because we were able to just kind of pitch here's a problem I'm having.
Oh yeah.
Does anybody have any ideas of how I could solve this problem? So as a bunch of designers, we were able to just kind of help pitch ideas, help each other out.
Yeah.
And then the next 3 hours of the session was the actual play test. We then broke out to that.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing this next time. We'll do players, you'll show up at 7, developers will show up at 6. And that way you can kind of, if there's any last minute tweaking you need to do before the play test, you pop into there. All right, that's really it. Keep a lookout again for when we're going to do that. RPG news, let's get into it. Coriolis, the Great Dark. This is the second printing of Coriolis. If you are into like space faring in the dark where no one can hear you scream kind of games, you're building basically a society on these floating asteroids out in space. This is from Free League, so if you love Free League products, which are some of the best non-D&D RPGs, you definitely want to check this out. So we do have the core rule book, and they talked about how they are not reprinting the first edition anymore. And while the open license, they did say, hey, you can still make content for the old stuff, they're basically moving. This is a whole rules update, so they're going to be moving on with that. So that's something to keep in mind. It is Shark Week as well, so we're going to move into board games. Shark Week. Kelp, you said you got to play Kelp before the Kickstarter.
Yeah, they sent me an early prototype as I make content on TikTok primarily, and so I was able to try it and make a little preview video on it. But honestly, that was 2 years ago.
So who knows?
I remember loving it, but I don't remember how to play it.
It's one of those few board games where I'm like, oh, it's explicitly 2-player.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked that. It was just like, look, we're not going to try to make a game that can fit all, like, we're really designed, we're really honed in on this play experience.
Yeah, which I appreciate. I mean, I think, there's so many, like, there's a lot of games that are 2 to 4, 2 to 5, and the 2-player experience is not as great as the 3 or 4-player experience. So I do, like last night, I had my regular game night, and only one other person was able to show up. And I don't really have any, like, only 2-player games. I don't think I have any, really. But I was kind of like, I appreciate that it's there. Like, there's games that are being made that are just 2 players.
And asymmetrical on top of that. Like, they really, again, I really respect that kind of sharp focus. In my understanding, it's one person's a shark, one person's an octopus. So you're all trying to... well, you explain. You played a little bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, so I won't be able to get the details right. But I remember it kind of feeling a little bit like, as far as the dynamic, it's almost like a stratego experience where one person sees everything and one person sees nothing, and the other person is trying to uncover information as they try and search for the octopus domino piece that's otherwise not facing them.
Right.
So there's actions to move around and flip things around, and the octopus is just trying to evade that and sort of mislead the shark player to to escape and
Oh,
stay
that's
away from
cool.
them and stuff. So it's like the tension is really interesting. And I actually, the publishers are friends of mine, and they really put a lot of effort into making the gameplay feel like the actual like natural, occurrence or whatever of these, like the way these animals interact and the way these animals survive in the wild. So it's got some cool aspects of that as well. That's like, it reflects.
They really got into
real shark and octopus.
Yeah,
dynamics.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of, you had that list of the 2025 board game things, and I know I don't get it right because I think of Portlandia, which was basically put a bird on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell you about that all the time. It's like, it's one of my favorite things you said. Which basically is like, I got a game design, I don't know what to do. Nature theme.
Put a bird on it.
Put a bird on it. Push it out the door.
Which is an example, as you're alluding to, of that, of not that, right? Like,
Yeah, well, that's
very
what I'm saying.
thematic.
Yeah,
Not,
they did the research basically.
Right.
Which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Nefarious 60 said, I primarily play with my wife, so 2-player games are super interesting to me. Kelp Bloom Chasers, which we had people buy and play and said it was fantastic.
Okay.
We should talk more about that one. Have you seen Bloom Chasers?
I haven't. Yeah.
It's actually a 3D tree that you're building, or you're flowering.
Yeah, cool.
So there's a really cool kind of like 3D element to
That
it.
sounds familiar. So maybe I have seen a video on it or something.
Maybe.
I think about it.
Like when you put fountains.
Yeah.
It seems similar to that in the sense that you're trying to build up with what you draw. So
Cool.
probably something to check out. We had it over there. I haven't seen it in a minute.
Yeah, as a person that makes content about board games, the request for 2-player games is like the most common thing.
Really?
Always. I mean, probably when people are asking me for recommendations for games, I'd say about 70% of the time it's like they want 2-player games.
Sure.
Because I think that's a pretty common thing. Like, you at home with your partner. And
Yeah. I mean, that's why I was looking at that, because it's like, I think Ticket to Ride is me and my partner's one of our favorite games because it does play really well at 2 players.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just easy enough to like break out, play, and put away. That's another big one. It's just like, how quickly can I get this to the table and put it away?
Yeah. For sure.
Well, cool. That's Kelp. We also, for Shark Week, the D&D. We have a shark mini for D&D. Apparently, the shark gets advantage if you're already wounded. So we've had shark facts this whole week on TikTok.
Cool.
And of course, we have really beautiful puzzles. This was Love and Sharks from Ibu. Peace and love. Yes, sharks. I've learned. I have a friend who is a biologist, marine biologist that works primarily with sharks.
Yeah.
And one time I made it as like, oh, sharks are scary, and that was the worst thing. I got the hugest lecture. But after the lecture, I was like, oh, sharks good, dolphins bad.
Oh,
that's what I got out of that.
Okay.
She was just like, dolphins are the absolute worst, like just a menace in the ocean.
That's funny.
Yeah, and it's like, sharks are just puppies. And they're like, why they bite people is because that's the only way they can feel, really, and get an idea of what that is. She's like, so imagine getting a nibble from a chainsaw. That's what's happening. That's why it hurts so bad. But they're really just being like, hey, what are you? And then they go, ooh, you taste bad.
So people don't get like completely eaten by sharks. They just get bit by sharks.
Most of the time you get very rarely have they ever eaten a person. Most of the time they just take a bite and go and don't like the way humans taste. At any rate, again, rambles. We're off. I did see a mutual of ours, Improv GM. There he is. Me too, shark. Me too. I saw that Improv had said, looks like you two are in the same room. Well, yeah, we are.
We sure are.
I was very cool to find out that because it's one of those weird things, how many people on mutuals I have on TikTok that were all from Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
There's actually a large amount of us. I was like, oh, this is...
Well, it's funny. I mean, Atlanta's so big. It's like, it took me 40 minutes to get here, with no traffic.
Sure.
And like Atlanta is just like this giant amorphous thing that's hard to like...
Yeah, well, when we say Atlanta, we mean the city plus like 2 or 3 or 4 counties.
Right. It's so sprawling.
Yeah, it's huge.
Hard.
But at least we can get around. Those are our board games. All right, we're going to quickly. We're going to come back to Colorfield and Big Sur. I do want to talk about those a lot, but of course, it's always time for our Warhammer Corner. As I was telling Mondo when he got here, we are very knee deep into the Warhammer universe, so I have our very specific section for that. this weekend. Oh no, we can't see it. I'm gonna move this so people can see. There. Oh, that's all right. There we are. Warhammer: The Horus Heresy, also known as Warhammer 30K. There we go. Thank you, Mondo. The third edition rules are out. If you're not familiar with Warhammer 30K, it's basically a big civil war amongst the Imperium of Man, where Horus has defied the rule of the Emperor. And when you get into this game, you are basically going to be Imperium on Imperium. So soldiers on soldiers on soldiers. It's a really cool, though, tactical combat. Lots of big mechs, lots of older, looking styles. Will they have future races come out? There will be skirmishes, but of course, the Tau aren't going to be there. The Necron aren't going to be there because since this is 10,000 years before 40K, those races haven't shown up yet. Knee deep, I thought it was closer to neck deep. Ha ha! You got it. And we do have so much Warhammer stuff. So that's our cool Horus Heresy. That's the Saturnine box. Age of Darkness Saturnine, sorry, is going to be here tomorrow. So if you've pre-ordered your box, come out and grab it, or come out and get what we have left in stock. Cool. I want to talk. I missed one thing. Sorry, because I put it over here because it's a huge box set.
It's a huge box.
From Lucky Duck Games. Ooh.
Move this now.
Here's what I've been doing. Oh, I don't have enough room for the camera.
You got it.
The Dark Quarter.
Move stuff.
Yeah. The Dark Quarter, there we go, is an app-driven board game where you take on a role of basically an inspector in New Orleans.
Okay.
But it's all of course, spooky, hoodoo, doctor, all that kind of stuff that you're dealing with.
It's a fun theme.
Yeah. And of course, we have all the expansions, all the upgrades, and that kind of stuff. The only thing I tell people, the caveat, and this is what I read from Board Game Geek, a lot of people were like, the app is a cool idea. Unfortunately, it drives too much of the game to the point where they felt like they didn't need your character sheet or your character board and all that kind of stuff. So that's just something I liked, to make people be aware of.
Sure.
But the theme and everything looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So we have these huge box sets. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes with a bunch of cards.
Nice.
Multiple play sessions. Of course, the 18 plus kind of theme, and you're looking at 180 minutes, I think.
Okay.
Per play, and I think it's a continuous story.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there's different modules and chapters and stuff.
Yes, yeah. So you'll finish one, and that will change what happens the next one, and so forth.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So check out the Dark Quarter if you like that kind of theming and love kind of app-driven games. But hey, let's get just block me. Here we go. You want to talk about, so these are 2 of your games that we currently have in stock here at Gigabytes. Sure. Make sure I'm not pulling my power out. Colorfield and Big Sur.
Yes, these are mine.
Yeah. Tell us more about these 2 games.
Yeah, okay. Well, Big Sur is a brand new release. It's only been out for a month or so. We're very excited about that. It's a card-laying game about building the Pacific Coast Highway out in California, where you have cards that you're trying to build. The cards have stretches of highway. I mean, I think we're too far away from the camera to really see
I can pull that
detail,
before.
but the idea is that the cards are multi-use. So on the front of the card is a stretch of the highway that you're trying to add to a tableau that you're building in front of you, and on the back of the card is a resource that you can use to build those things. So you're choosing between the front of the card in order to build it, or the back of the card in order to use as the resource to build the card that you want to build. So,
okay. So you had to make a strategy choice of how are you going to use them?
And the way you score is by basically having the same types of terrain. So each card has 1 or 2 terrain types on it, and you're trying to string together as many of the same type of essentially suits of the card
as you
can to score points. So you're kind of balancing the maximizing that scoring system with spending cards
Right.
that you want to do to be able to do it. So,
And the artwork does have that great kind of like travel. What's the word I'm looking for? National forest, national park kind of feel to it, where it's minimalist, very solid colors, but really evocative. That's one of the best things I love about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tristan Rawson is the artist, and has been one of my favorites for a long time. So I was really excited when the publisher Chad decided to work with him. So
Oh, cool.
He knocked it out of the park.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
The whole
cool.
box set is great. And that's, $20 for a good game. That's
right.
not bad.
That's right.
Not bad, especially this day and age for a lot of board games.
It's also in the like top 50 most anticipated games of Gen Con list on Board Game Geek.
So if you're going to be at Gen Con, are you going?
I will not be at Gen Con.
Nice.
25th Century Games will be there with these games.
Well, there you go.
If you want to check them out. But I'm fairly certain Big Sur will sell out because I think publishers often bring a quantity of games that they expect will be able to sell out, so they can say that
They sold out. They sold out.
Little industry trick.
Well, and also because I've been going to Gen Con since early 2000s. It's also we don't want to bring this home.
Oh, of course.
We don't want to have to.
Well, you can get some deals on the last day of really any convention.
Oh my gosh, that's what a buddy of mine. He was a car salesman, so in sales rather in general. He would wait till Sunday, and the deals he would pull out were insane.
Yeah.
He was like, "Well, how about I take this, and this, and a lot of it was terrain that a lot of terrain builders would make." And he's like, "They don't. It's bulky and big, and they don't want to take it home." And he's like, and then he would just ship it. He would package it. GPS it to his home.
I started shipping things home instead of paying for the extra check baggage.
Oh, yeah.
That was a shift, but that one's really cool. Been in production for a while. I used to live out in Monterey, California, so the theme is something that is kind of important to me.
Yeah.
I also got, when you're a designer, you can get away with a lot of stuff. Like one of the cards in the game, there's some characters, there's landmark cards that you can acquire to kind of accentuate your score in your system. But one of them has a picture of my daughter on it, because you can do that. You can just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I think
they can't stop you.
And I think I think in the rule book, the examples that I use, we have like examples and you say like this player has this or whatever.
Right.
The names that you put in there, it can be whatever you want.
Oh yeah.
So I often in my games, and I think in this one, have like my family members' names as the example characters.
Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah. If you look at my games, they're all friends.
Oh sure. Yeah.
They're like, what are you gonna? And don't use my name. What are you talking about? It's just a name.
Yeah, just a name, exactly.
It wasn't you specifically.
Yeah.
And then color fields, another really great. I tell me if I'm wrong, but as I look at color field and Azula, right? If people that pick up Azula, I often tell them, if you like this, I think you're gonna like color field because the abstraction.
Sure.
I think, is what I'm more going for. It's like, if you like a little bit more abstract game design. That's what I point people towards this, but tell us more about color field.
Yeah, so it is an abstract game. Essentially, you have these square tiles that have either 3 or 4 colors on them, and you have a palette that's a 2x3 grid, and you are adding these tiles to your palette in order to try and match up the colors on each side. Very much like a spatial puzzle, color-driven spatial puzzle that is very easy to learn. It's a thinky experience, so it's one of those games that I can like teach my mom, and she can learn very easily, and then that the learning barrier is really low, and can enjoy it from that perspective. But this was the first game that I ever had signed, so it's also very important to me. Very dear to my experience and my heart. But my wife, who is an illustrator, did all the artwork for it.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually a unique story because typically if you're a designer, whatever art you have on your prototype is almost always going to be placeholder art that is not used in the final publication if your game is published by a company and not self-published by yourself. But my wife illustrated the prototype that I took to start pitching, and it was so good that the publisher was like, first of all, I think it helped it get signed because the art was already attached to it, so there was no addition. There was less additional art cost. They still paid her to work through it, but it wasn't like they had to go out and find someone
contracts and all that kind of
to
stuff.
Illustrate it. Yeah. So yeah, it's got that original art on it, which is really fun. And
Man, that's a great story.
it's a good
And tell us, so you pitched this to 25th Century, and I know we get a lot of questions about this. Is why we do Dev Night, by the way, is because there's a lot of questions about how to take a product from the idea to pitching to publishers.
Yeah.
What is this actually leads me to this, because I know we're both friends with Curvin. That kind of like self-publishing side versus the pitching side.
Yeah, sure.
What's the, like, from your experience, when would you say, hey, yeah, maybe you want to try to self-publish versus this is an idea that you may want to take to a publisher?
Yeah, I mean, that's it's a good question. I personally think, like, I would never be interested in self-publishing.
Okay.
And that's because the self-publishing route is, like, the game design of it is about maybe 10%, 15% of the overall process.
Sure.
Because when you take on that, now you are responsible for finding art for your game, finding manufacturing, distribution, like every
step of it.
Yeah, which there's a lot, and that you might not see if you're not familiar with the industry. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. And you become directly responsible for all of that, marketing and all of it.
Sure.
So in order to self-publish, you basically are starting a small business.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's easy to do it very efficiently if it's like a side gig. Like,
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Because it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
It either takes a lot of time or it takes a lot of money to pay someone
Right.
that knows what they're doing to do these aspects of things that you don't know how to do.
Lawyers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, actually, yeah, that's definitely part of it. So I think if you, well, I guess, let's see. I'm trying to, because like self-publishing, the good thing about self-publishing is you have complete creative control over the entire process. You get to make all the decisions about what the game looks like and the theming and the mechanics of it. So if you like to have that kind of control, that's important and doesn't really happen as much if you're working with a publisher.
Right.
But short of that, I personally prefer, and you'll get to keep all of the profits.
Sure.
If there are profits.
I was going to say, but how much of it goes back into the next project?
Exactly. And that's a hard, I mean, that's an important part of it. Is like, there's not a ton of money in it. You have to get super, super lucky to have like a really successful self-publish. I mean, and I'm talking like 0.5%, right? Like of all the projects out there.
I mean, we've talked about, because I don't know if you're familiar or aware, we are connected with Bridge Distribution. Just learning about the profit margins. And all that kind of stuff. And then with the tariffs, that was just and still, I mean, we're still dealing with that, but it seems to have kind of died down. I'm not really sure where it ended up, actually.
Yeah, I believe that the tariffs with China are steady, holding at 30 or 35% right now.
Okay.
Which is more than it used to be and more than was anticipated, so it's way more than the industry, like everybody in the industry can handle. Like a lot of companies are having to scale back or postpone production lines or close shop altogether. So it's been really bad. It could have been a lot worse, but it's not like good now.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a self-publisher,
we're still dealing with.
I mean, up and down, kind of up and down the gambit of publication. It's been terrible. An issue, but
Ryan Pruitt said marketing is the worst thing to ever try and self-manage. I
believe that.
Because it's a constant like battling the algorithm these days. Of just I come from the old school Reddit days of where self-promotion was seen as the absolute worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
And so there's this mental block I have of being like, well, I can't self-promote. Nobody likes it when you self-promote.
Right.
And then, but it's like, well, then how do you get out there and how do you get people to notice you? And
I mean, it's interesting because it's like your engagement with the community is really important, right? Like if you show up in a Facebook forum of game designers talking about your product without having engaged with that community at all beforehand, like I feel like that's something that will, first of all, just be ignored, but then we'll also catch a lot of black and negative sentiments about, which I think is rightfully so. Like that's not why those forums exist,
Sure.
Whereas if you're very engaged in the community like that, and you are contributing and you're like answering questions and asking questions, and offering help for new designers or whatever, and
it's So there was I did voice acting for a long time, and that's what a lot of the reason why I bring that up is they talked about how you have to build with your potential client base trust, and that there was a phrase, and I wish I could remember it now, but basically it was like trust and knowledge. They need to trust you that you have the knowledge before they're going to start kind of being like, oh, okay, and I can listen to you and work with you or whatever. Sure. And I think that's kind of the same thing, what you're talking about. Yeah. By interacting with the community, by answering questions and doing all that kind of stuff, you're building that trust and knowledge base that when you're finally saying, hey, guys, I have something, people are like, oh, I recognize your name. Yeah. You've been around here. You're not just a grifter.
And they're friends, so like they'll want to support you and they'll want to, help promote for you and stuff. Absolutely.
And also promoting your friend's stuff is huge.
Oh,
right?
Sure. Yeah. No, I think that's
even before you have something, just like, hey, go check this out. It's always one of those things. David, who owns both Gigabytes and Bridge, says here, trying to help teach indie publishers to charge correct shipping. Shipping is always the big question mark. Yeah. Because that's such a future prospect.
So when you're taking something to Kickstarter,
right?
That makes sense.
Well, shipping rates are, let's say $5 now, because when I did for my book, it was about $5, but it could be $9.
Sure.
Be 10.
Well, especially something like this that's like this massive game, right?
You don't know what the weight's going to be, and that's one of the things I took away when I did some helping with distributing stuff for Bridge. When doing a Kickstarter, I learned a lot about if I'm to do another one, here's what I would offer to kind of keep costs manageable and reasonable. And not only that, but just fulfillment times can be, when you see something like this, I hope I'm not talking out of school or whatever. When you see something like this that's this big, your fulfillment time for every new box that you put on there, there's another week. Another week,
right.
It just increases production, blah, 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 blah.
It's impossible to predict,
Oh, yeah. Sure. So just, it's rough. I'm glad video games don't need shipping, just have to worry about platforms and pricing. Yeah. Of course, I do miss the old school video, getting my box with the manual on the inside and maybe like a cool map, cloth map.
That was a weird transition.
Now, how would you go about, because we were talking about, or I wanted to get your opinion on or ideas on what is your preferred method of pitching a game, or what you recommend how people pitch a game?
Well, I think there's a right way to do it, and that's more or less there aren't multiple right ways to do it, especially if you're new and aren't established in the industry or don't have games published yet. The most publishers are very transparent about if they're taking pitches or not, and if they are, how to do it. So the best way to do it is to, first of all, identify publishers that you think are appropriate for the game that you're going to be pitching. Like, for example, Big Sur, light family weight card game that's also for hobbyists, right? It's not like a game that you're going to see in Walmart and Target. People are picking up randomly. So 25th Century Games makes those types of games, right? Other publishers like Hasbro doesn't make those types of games. Right. So me pitching this game to a publishing company that doesn't match the game type is a waste of everybody's time. So identifying what those publishers are and then reaching out to those publishers directly. Typically there's an email address or a submission form on a website where you just give a brief elevator pitch of your game that's no longer than a paragraph long. There's a thing called a sell sheet that's really important, which is the back of the box, the back of any board game.
Okay. Because I saw you flipping through on one of your lives, or one of your, I don't know if it was a live or one of your streams, you're showing a bunch of your sell sheets. So I was curious about that. So that's, cool. So it's basically, here's what I think the back of the box is going to look like.
Right. And if you look at the back of any board game box, you have a little explanation of the story that's being played. You have a brief explanation of how to play, usually this one doesn't, but Colorfield does, where there's just step 1, step 2, step 3. This is what you do. This is how you get tiles. This is where you put them. This is how they score. That information, as well as how many players, how old, the minimum age and minimum play time or maximum play time.
And that's how I look at a game. I'm like, here's the keywords I'm looking for. Does it say Euro? Does it say deck builder?
Right.
Does it say worker placement? Like,
Exactly.
I'm always looking for like, what are those keywords? Because then I'm going to have a really good idea of like, oh, this is a game for me or not.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Instantly.
Yeah, I kind of wish there was like, it was more standard to put weights like out of the BGG 5 scale. But I feel like that would be helpful.
I will say that I was confused by it at first. When I first saw it, I thought it was how popular this out of this.
Okay. Yeah.
Until I started learning, weight meaning, because I was like, why are they calling this weight? And I was like, how difficult out of 5 this game is. Like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, maybe we need a more universal metric. I feel like that would be helpful. But yeah, when you pitch a game, you have a sell sheet, you have that elevator pitch, you send it to the publisher. I'd say it's about 50-50 now between publishers, if they are interested in the game that you submit to them, wanting to play it digitally versus wanting to play it in person at a convention.
Sure.
Both of which kind of carry their own challenges as far as being able to implement it digitally and making it to a convention. Yeah. So,
well, there's a great website called Tabletopia. People don't know about it, or that's how I pronounce it. Are you familiar with?
Yeah.
Wingspan's on there, for instance. And I will say, me and a friend are designing a card game. Do you know? So, do you want to be a DM, Justin? I don't know if you've run across them on TikTok.
Maybe.
I won't go into it. Maybe I'll tell you later what the idea is. It's pretty funny. Okay. But so we started working on it. Well, you're able to make prototypes on Tabletopia. So we have a prototype on there, so we can just play with people and like, all right, flip the cards. There's a couple of things we're missing. I would love a timer. I think it's the only thing we don't have on there, because everything's timed in the rounds. You have 60, or you have like 20 minutes or something like that for the round, and we would just love some kind of online digital clock for everybody to be able to see. I know Tabletopia. I know you're watching. Get on it. Anyway, Nefarious 60 said, that's been my experience as well, and making good connections with publishers helps, as sometimes they reach out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's in reference to like the community
piece
we were talking about, but that's absolutely true. And it's important to remember too that most publishers in the board game space are very small. They're 2 people, 5 people, and they're gaming enthusiasts, every single one of them. So
they're probably in the same Discord as you are. If the Discord's large enough, which is one of those things where it's like you need to also kind of be careful because you don't know who's listening, who's watching, who's friends with who.
Be smart.
It's the Will Wheaton don't be a dick kind of thing. Like, you're in a community, be good to the community will be good to you, kind of a situation.
Yeah, and it's such a small industry, and it's also a very, again, community-based, relational industry, where if you make a fool of yourself in a conversation with one publisher,
it's gonna
spread. Like, publishers get together and they share stories about different designers that were super aggressive or didn't show up to their whatever. Like, whatever you do, right? Make a good impression. Be kind. Because if you're not, it'll stay with you.
It'll be hard to shake. Is there anything else you wanted that I didn't cover that you wanted to?
So as a developer for the app, I got to talk about our games coming out, which is exciting.
Absolutely.
So I started developing at the app a year ago, and we have 2 games coming out this year that should be out this fall, which are Fountains and Tea Witches, which we're really excited about, both of them.
Tell us about Fountains. There's one particular fountain that you were pushing for, and this is one of my favorite stories.
So Fountains it's a tile stacking game, a tile laying game where you're building a 3-dimensional fountain. It's got this really cool mechanic where you line up tiles so that they can be stacked on top of each other.
To make a fountain.
Yeah, exactly. And feels very thematic, especially for a tile laying game, which is sometimes hard to pull off. But, we have these little character movers that are basically how you keep score during the game. And there's one of the mannequin piss, which is a statue of a boy peeing that is very famous in Belgium, in Brussels, Belgium. But my wife and I, the story is that my wife and I went to Brussels on our honeymoon, and this mannequin piss statue was like advertised everywhere. Everybody said, "Oh, you got to go see this. It's so great." And we're walking up, and there's all these souvenir shops with all these little statues of this mannequin piss character or whatever. And we get there, and the statue's like this big, just like on the side of the street on like a stone fence. It was just like so underwhelming.
Yeah.
But it became the thing that like we joke about anytime we like go travel and see something, and we're like that's like hyped up, and we're like, that's fine. It's like, oh yeah, mannequin piss. So when we were talking about what to put in, because we were thinking about like traditional fountain implements to use as these movers, and I was like, we got to get mannequin piss in there. We gotta get mannequin piss in there. I didn't think they'd do it, but they did.
They did it. I love it. I was like, all right.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
So see, the story has a big crescendo in the end.
Right.
And it's this.
It paid off. Yeah.
That's for a board game.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. Is there a way you had kind of mentioned before we started filming? If people have pitches, do you help people with pitches? Do you? Yeah,
well, so at the op, I screen pitches that come in. Pat Marino, who's also on TikTok, he is my boss, and we kind of make those decisions together about things that come in, whether or not we want to push them to the greater company and see if there's something we want to pursue. But if our system is closed, meaning there's a link that we will give you if we've already seen the game, versus other publishers that might have an open link that you can just submit to. But if you find me on TikTok at Games by Mondo, send me a DM if you have a game idea, or not a game idea, sorry, but a functioning prototype that's been play tested that you think should be published.
Well, that's a really good point.
Absolutely.
Because I have a RPG, and it's now been 4 years in development. You know, I didn't start pitching it until I had at least several games and iterations. I think by version 3, that's when I started telling people. Like, because you want something that, you don't want an idea.
Right.
You want something that works.
Yeah. It needs to be built and tested and like confirmed to be good from the people that have played it before a publisher will consider it. So.
Yeah. Having good slug lines, especially if you can get a slug line from somebody in the industry who's has a name of just being like, I like this game because blah 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 blah. That's what you want as well. Just like a log line or whatever. Just be like a quick boom.
Yeah, that helps.
Well, cool. Is there anything else you want to plug? I think we got how to reach out to you if they want to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
I've been wanting to get you out here for a minute because, again, anybody local that is in the industry, and we can kind of help those who have ideas and creatives see their vision and their passion through. We want to be able to help you with that. Jamie Naismith says, the next Old World tournament is on August 9th. Let David know it's time for the Gobos to make a triumphant return to the battlefield. Well, there you go. August 9th is the next Old World tournament. Thank you all very much for coming out to Rambles this July 25th. This is the last Rambles for July, and then we're into August already. Oh, this year moves by too fast. So get your kids back into school.
Yes.
We will talk to you later. Thank you very much.
Of course. So long.